Hey guys, welcome back to another jack stand driveway video. More working on the old Jeep. This old Jeep part 3 coming up. Well, there you go, she started up. Make sure everything's running smoothly after 3 months. I mean, just as smooth as can be. It's half. And the check engine light's not on, so there you go, it's done. It's fixed now. Holy crap. Yeah, she's got a little bit of smoke coming out, but I mean, what do you expect? This is old gas too. It's got a little bit of oil, it's slightly mixtured oil in it. But there she goes. Okay, so it's currently in second gear right now, and we'll get to this hill up here and see if it downshifts. That's the main thing. This isn't it. I'm gonna go ahead and floor it, see if it downshifts. Yep, there, it downshifted finally. Okay. Well, it seemed to have fixed that problem because before it wouldn't have downshifted there. Now I'll do it. I guess it's working now. Well, that's good. That's good news. There it goes again, but I have to like foot to the floor in order for it to work, but I mean, I could work with that, I guess. Oh man, that's a view and a half right there. Alright, I'll turn around. Oh, you can't see it because of the sun, but if I can get the sun out of the picture, yeah, that is beautiful. So, I mean, it's working. I've got throttle position sensoring. Zooming out, and she still works because again, this thing's an abandoned Jeep. It gets driven only when I drive it, which is only a couple times a year, and this is literally the route, just up the neighborhood and back down. You can't drive it on a public roadway because it's not insured or doesn't have a license plate either. So but I try to get up here as often as I can and drive it. But one of these days, whenever I have enough money to actually have 2 cars and pay 2 insurance, I'll bring this back to my place, which is this the current situation I'm in. I have a daily driver back at my house that I'm also paying insurance on, and I can't afford 2 insurance as someone who's under the age of 25. It's like, you know, it's a lot of money. Like, what, $4 grand a year or something? I can't afford that crap. It's just irresponsible. So, you know, just make do with what I have, and it's always good to know if that my daily craps out, I have this one, which is interesting because this is kind of the crap car. I gotta make this turn. There we go. This is quite an incline here. And we'll see if it's got any throttle response to it here when I floor it. Yeah, I mean, it's not fast, but it'll do the trick. Alright y'all, I got a pretty exciting update on this actually. So if you will remember, or if you haven't seen the videos prior to this one, in order to get this Jeep running, I had to put a higher amp fuse in the number 22 spot to get the skim module to be able to read the key, because that was the original problem. You can go back and watch episode 1 to find that out. Apparently, if you look right now, just for an experiment, I put the 10 amp fuse back in there where it's supposed to be. And normally, it would pop instantly and the gauge would not work. But since I put that thing in there, it might be a little heat soaked, so let's see. But since I put that new part in there, look at that. That means the fuse didn't pop, which means the problem was that old throttle position sensor. And now I have a completely safe working Jeep at this point. I was a little concerned. I didn't want to keep that higher amp fuse in there the whole time. But now I don't have to worry about it. So that's very reassuring. I'm very glad I actually found the solution to the problem rather than a way around the problem. Because I was always, in the back of my head, a little worried of driving this thing with the high amp fuse and where it was. Now if I drive it far distances, I would have taken the fuse out. I took the fuse out. But now I don't have to. Now it just runs like a normal vehicle would, other than the fact that, 4 high doesn't work. But I'm gonna go for a quick drive and I'll let you know if everything stays working. Well, there must have just been a fluke in the 4-wheel drive system, because it worked fine now. And it was in 4 high, and 4 high worked. So, I'm pretty happy right now. I think Jeep is working. And this might actually be the last episode of this old Jeep until I actually start modifying it or bring it home. So right after I fixed that one problem, now the crank sensor doesn't want to participate. When it gets hot, it just spins and spins. Let's see if it'll do it right now. Okay, it must be warm enough now, or cold enough now, that it starts. But before, because I've left this hood open for about 30 minutes, I drove it up, got it up to temperature, and then I tried to turn it back on maybe 10 minutes later, and it would just spun over, and it did not start. I mean, it didn't even kick or anything. It just spun and spun, and I did the 3 turns on the key thing, and it showed a P0320, and I looked that up, and it's a crankshaft position sensor. And then I kind of got to thinking, I'm like, what if it's only when it's hot that it does that? And sure enough, I looked it up and people said that's like early signs, is that when it's hot and heat soaked, that thing will go bad. So, because now look, the check engine light's not even there. I didn't clear any codes or anything. So, I don't know. I probably should just replace the crankshaft sensor. I definitely will eventually. I just don't know. I can't do it here. Alright, there's no way I'm getting under this thing here. The only way to do it is bring it up into the garage and then hopefully be able to get it out. Because with this thing, I'm not 100% sure that it's going to start all the time. I was about 3 hours ago until this happened. But I don't know what to think anymore. But I'm going to wait for it to get up to temperature and make sure the fan's kicking on, because that might be another problem. I just want to make sure that's not a problem. And then I think at that point, the only thing I could say is not working, if the fan kicks on, would be the crankshaft sensor. You can't even see, it's like way back in there, and then you have to crawl through the firewall back here. All sorts of crap has to happen. So I definitely don't want to do that here. And that'll be something that happens in the future, I think. I think I can live with this for now, just because, again, it's not driving anywhere. It's not like I'm going to need it. As long as it doesn't shut off along there. And if it does, I just open the hood, pour some water on it, cool off. It's not heat soak in the injectors or the fuel rail. It's heat soak on the crankshaft sensor. And I'm going to say that's what the problem is. And eventually, when I start actually doing modifications to this, I'm going to try to put like a timed relay on this. So when I shut it off, it stays on for like 5 minutes, cuts itself off. And I probably want to put hood vents there so it will circulate out. And I think it'll be fine after that. And I'll also replace the crank sensor. But yeah, so at this point, I know what the problem is, so I feel a little bit better than I did when I first came down here. I was disappointed when I started this recording, and now I feel a little bit better. So that's what it is. It's just it gets hot and the crank sensor stops working. Basically, just to finalize what just happened in this clip, crankshaft sensor gets hot and heat soaks, and it won't start unless you leave the hood open for like 20 minutes. And then it'll start. Well guys, that's going to conclude this video. As you saw, I fixed the main problem on this Jeep rather than finding a way around it, which, as I stated before, and I'll restate it now, was the fuse was blowing that was keeping the skim module from reading the key, and it would start up and shut down within 5 seconds of each other all the time, so it was undrivable for about 4 years. And then I put a 20 amp fuse in, so a higher amp, so it didn't blow it, which probably wasn't the best idea, but I got it driving. And now I actually found the solution, which was fixing the throttle position sensor. So that's good. The problem is now I have that crankshaft position sensor problem, which is just wonderful, but I can't fix that here. I guess the next step is either have it hauled off to a place, because you can't drive it on the road because there's no license plate, and have them fix it, which I don't really want to do, or bring it back to a place where I can work on it and fix it. So yeah, that's going to conclude this episode. Stay tuned for part, I guess it'd be 4 of this, which I don't know what it will be. I don't know what I'll be doing in that video, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.